What's going on, everybody? A little bonus tonight on Monday. So, we haven't talked about the Pack Destruction tracker for Pokemon in a little bit. And now that we have 30 days of detail, I want to walk through what we're seeing. Now, keep in mind, this is pulling graded cards as they're being published on the site. So, this is most certainly a lagging indicator. We can see here because what I want to do is I want to look at the 30-day packs the last 30 days. And all this is doing, this is taking the increase in the population of total graded cards, um, the hit rate, estimated number of packs, divided by 36, which is kind of what the math works out to, and going from there. So I think what we did, I think we estimated a 10% grade rate. So the boxes open has been grossed up by effectively 90%. And yeah, I personally think that's reasonable. Some people think it's higher. Some of the more educated folks think it might be actually a little bit lower than that. Uh, we'll never know. So that's the beauty of this. So the value of this is that it's all relative. So we can see with definitive proof which sets are getting open more than other sets. And it's that simple. So again, this is backward looking. So this is most likely in the last 30 days. These are probably the March submissions, back half of February, first half of March submissions. It's going to get a little weird because we're going to see Journey Together here, which came out the end of March, and there's a lot of them that have been graded. So I don't know if those are all rush. I assume the bulk of them are rush grades. But let's go through 30 days first because this one is super telling. So Surging Sparks, by far, you're looking at 2.5, 5.5 million more packs ripped than Crown Zenith, which is the second highest, 17.5 million packs. And this is just the number of packs ripped in 30 days, which is absolutely freaking phenomenal. Prismatic Evolutions, what's amazing is there's not as many prismatic evolutions here, and what's interesting is we're pulling based off the Umbreon SIR 151, 15.7. Silver Tempest Lugia. Silver Tempest is the most frequently ripped set in Sword and Shield, and you go down here to Evolving Skies, you're only at 13.9, and I would imagine a bunch of these are probably reissues where the Lugia, I mean, we could have the same impact, but the premium on the Lugia PSA 10 is nowhere close to what it is on the Umbreon VMAX. It's just not. So 14.6 here. Twilight Masquerade. This is interesting. So you have 151 and Twilight, and then Paldean Fates that are all absolutely through the roof here. And I think the thing that's interesting, 151 is kind of past Paldean Fates for the longest time. They were neck and neck. And I think this is based on the availability, because if you guys remember, there's a big push to get booster bundles out to the market the end of February and early March. And this is going to be right around that time frame, just based on the estimated grading time outstanding. So Evolving, 14 million packs, 13.9, and then it falls off a cliff. Now you get the Brilliant Stars, 10.3, and then it gets weird. Paldea Evolved Magikarp, 8.5. Now, I don't know if it's just the fact that there's just that much less interest here versus the Charizard, which, again, this is a little weird. Or the fact that the Magikarp is just, you could see visible dings on a lot of the cards, and it's just like, we're not even going to bother grading them. Charizard from Obsidian Flames, 7.7. Lost Origin, 7.3. I am shocked that Lost Origin is this much less popular than Evolving Skies, which is interesting. But when we get to Fusion Strike is like 2.5 times worse than Lost Origin. So it's super fascinating how what the data tells us here. Temporal Forces, pretty good. 6.7 million boxes. I mean, the Raging Bolt is getting ripped and it's getting graded. Hidden Fates, Jesse and James, Journey Together. So here's where we get super interesting, because this is going to be the number one card over the last 7 days, obviously, because it's relatively new. But 5 million packs. And I would imagine that as we get a month or two out, this number is just going to skyrocket. because we're going to get a lot of the early submissions with the standard submission coming through. Shrouded Fable Persian. What's interesting here, I noticed today that there's only like 350 ETBs listed from Shrouded Fable right now. So some of them must have either sold during the Mayhem event. I honestly didn't look. I should have looked, but I didn't. Or they just got pulled off the market. And then you get back to some of the less ideal sets. Celebrations 5, SV based Gardevoir, Paradox, and then you get to Fusion Strike. So Fusion Strike is super interesting. And if anybody has any theories here, any concepts, I mean, you can see here's your distribution. So your total grade on Fusion Strike is 18,000 cards. But I don't understand why it's this few compared to what we're seeing. Yeah, I mean the Lost Origin, the Giratina is 17,000 graded, which is so weird. So then you have Battle Styles, Darkness Ablaze, Champions Path, and Astro Radiance. This is Machamp 7,000 of these, Blaziken 7,000. I'm actually shocked how few Astral and Chilling Rain packs are getting ripped. I would have expected it to be a little bit higher. Now, I'm sure it's going to be much higher now that there's a little bit more hype in the set. And then for whatever reason, the Squirtle's glitching. So there's an issue in the code on this one, but whatever. So let's look at the last 7 days, because this is really, really cool. So this just tells you the most recent week here. So you have Lily's Clefairy, Journey Together. So you can kind of look at the 7 days, 30 days. So this is basically the 10 days post-release. And the release was what, like early March. So this is probably right through the middle of March. So again, back half of February, first half of March. Pikachu, still a ton of these getting graded. Giratina, Charizard from 151, Prismatic. I'm surprised this one's falling behind, but it just means there are a lot of packs being ripped. I mean, 3 million packs, that's what, $35 million worth of packs a week. That's a crazy number. Again, Lugia, Bubble Mew, Greninja. I'm also shocked how much Twilight Masquerade is getting ripped. It's crazy. It's crazy. So this, for the most part, does mirror the last 30 days. Now here you can see Obsidian Flames Charizard's dropped way off. Let's see, anything else interesting? That's an outlier. Fusion Strike, just not much here, and it's so bizarre. Yeah, Shining Fate's nothing, which is interesting. I wonder if the code broke on this one, but either way, that being said, you look at the total boxes opened. The estimate, again, this is just the relative estimate. Evolving Skies, far and away the most. And then you have Brilliant, which is absolutely crazy. There's 23,500 cards of the Charizard, which is interesting. So we're showing the PSA gem rate here, but this is a total pop. So this is pulling in BGS, CGC, and I don't know if Fruity's being pulled in or not. I'll have to check. But either way, Silver Tempest, crazy. Absolutely crazy. 30,000 of these. 30,000 Lugias. Giratina, Lost Origins, Celebrations. So Celebrations, Shining Fates, two of the lesser submitted sets. There's so many of these that are graded. And look at this. 26 and 27,000 PSA 10s. Surging Sparks Pikachu, 13,000. I mean, that's a tough one to grade. It really is. And then let's see. Paldean Fates 25.4, and then 52 for the Charizard, but the pull rate's about 2 to 1. So the Charizard's about twice as easy, if you will, to pull than what the Mewtwo is. And then, look at the Greninja. 12,000 of these 3.4 million boxes. It's crazy how much of this product's out there. I mean, look at the Magikarp. You have 2 million boxes of Paldea Evolved. 3.4 million for Twilight. It's absolutely crazy. And it's a data point that I never would have guessed. And then, you go down here to Prismatic Evolutions. But again, quite honestly, this was only out for 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, 6 to 10 weeks, whatever. So this number is it's just going to continue to grow massively. Then Fusion Strike, what's interesting is there aren't that many. I mean, I got to check that. I don't think that's the right pull rate on this one. I'll have to double check that. I thought the Gengar VMAX was closer to 1 in 1,000. But let me check the data set on that. That could be wrong. Yeah, temporal. It's crazy how many of these are out there. 390,000 Sword and Shield base, baby. So that tells you how low the print was for Sword and Shield base, because the packs weren't ripped, the cards weren't graded because they're not worth anything, and it's nowhere to be found, which is absolutely insane. So anyway, guys, I just want to share this with you guys. It continues to evolve, but I think it's super fascinating with the data that we're seeing, and as new sets come in, it's just awesome to see where the interest is. And the interest is going to translate into grading, and it just is what it is. So anyway, guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel, join the Discord, and we'll see you tomorrow.